stretcher. We can spend longer in positions. We don't have to go so crazy with the warm-up. So what we're going to start with, with some gentle holds, just holding the position, and then we'll work out to some floor stretching. Again, Haroon and I are going to the martial arts show on the weekend, so I just want to get as flexible as I can, so nice easy stuff. So all we're going to do to start with, for the first minute, we're going to put remote control somewhere put it. So there you go. Yeah. So all we're going to start with is you're going to start on your yoga squat. Okay? So with this yoga squat, again, feel free to sit down on a block. You're just going to sit down in your yoga block and move about in the position. Okay? Ready, go for it. So I'm just going to show you some variations. So variation 1 is just shifting your knees back and forth. So the easiest way to open up. Variation 2 is either with your prayer hands or your knuckles, push the knees out a couple of times. There's another variation where you take your hands out, take one arm up and start circles, 5 one side, 5 the other side, change arms. And then there's one where you lean yourself forward, so you sort of lean forward and sit up, lean forward, sit up. There's ones where you put your hand and push your knee out. Okay, excellent. So warmed up the hips. Now we're going to warm up the calves. Okay, so you're going to be in a relaxed down dog. Up to where you want your hands. Push them in. Again, I'm going to set the timer for a minute. You can walk out your dog. You can walk the feet in. Up to you how you want to walk it in. But again, new variation that I've come up with is just lifting the leg up and then bringing it back down. And lifting the other leg up really slowly and back down. And I find that helps to open up my calf muscles. Chill out now. That's it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to work on a little quad one. Again, if it causes you issue, just sit on a block. But basically, one foot is turned, one foot is here. Now you might sit here and your quad might go, oh, my quad's in agony. You might lean back slightly with your hand, you might come down on the elbow. We're just going to do 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other side. So just go to where you are. If you feel pain in your knee or your lower back, that's too far. So just back off a little bit. And again, you can always push your hip forward to increase the stretch in your quadricep. But again, I guess the ultimate goal is to lie all the way down or lie on a block or a pillow. And slowly come out and switch. Start sat up, check that's okay, and then when you're ready, slowly move back. Okay, since we're sat on the floor, we'll just do a nice little one for our hamstrings. So this one, obviously if you're more flexible, you're going to grab your feet, but for most people, just grabbing and hugging our legs can be quite nice. And what can happen is you can tense everything, and then as you let it go, sort of let the knees go forward. So it's just a minute in your two-legged forward fold. But again, the idea is to try and keep that connection with the chest and the tops of the quads, and then slowly tip forward until Feel tension, and then a little bit of PNF, tensing, and as you relax, you go a little bit further. Again, when you get more flexible, move your hands down, start to stretch out your lower back. Again, if you're holding on to your feet, little variations, you can push your feet into your hands for 5, and then relax. Push your feet into your hands. Very good, knee be done. Okay, cool. So what we'll work on now is the insides of the legs. So we're just going to go into a frog stretch. So with your frog stretch, up to you how you get into it. If you want to have the feet slightly in, because that's more comfortable for you. If you want to take the feet out, if you want to put your knees on blocks, that's fine. But again, I'll just show you a couple of variations of how to get into your frog stretch, okay? So the first one is to move forward and back. And as you breathe in, look up. As you breathe out, fold, maybe come down on your forearms. Next variation is to twist, lie on your shoulder and turn. That's a nice one. And the final variation is the same. Sit. Sit back. But again, whatever you feel, do get the muscles a little bit warmer. Okay, and relax. And then we'll just do an outer hip stretch to sort of counter that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross my leg over for today. Make sure both hips are on the floor. And then grab the leg, however's comfortable for you, and I'm going to twist. This twisted one for me helps work a bit of my hip that's the most sore. But again, you might want to put your head on your knee. Any variation you want. We're just going to do 30 seconds on one side and 30 seconds the other before we get into it. And switch, change legs. Okay, excellent. Now, for this next bit, basically for the martial arts show, it's like the two big stretches of the front split and the side split, which we haven't done for a while, I understand that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a minute of hard work, and then we're going to do a minute of going back to a more extreme hold. So they were like gentle holds. These will be more extreme holds, but please feel free to go any variation you want. So we're going to start standing, and we're going to do Cossack lunges for a whole minute. Again, if you want to hold a position longer, if you want to take it lighter, that's totally up to you. But again, the version I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down and again, drop down as low as I can, and then use the muscles to come back up. So you can put your hands forward, but you can also put your hands above your head. That makes it even tougher because it forces you to have that upright posture. Last 10 seconds. And sit down. So that should have given the legs a little bit of a warm up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the legs wide, and I'm going to give you some tests. So I'm actually going to time it now. We're just going to stay in this position. So test number 1 is can you sit up? Okay, doesn't matter how wide the legs are, can you sit up? So most basic is to point and flex the feet, because then you're flossing the muscles. Okay, that's like a level 1 drill. A level 2 drill, I would say, is to be able to grab the foot with one hand, pull yourself in, maybe until your elbow connects with your leg, and just go from side to side. When I get to your maximum level, you'll obviously stay there. Okay. Now, level 3 is to twist. Now, again, we're all different levels. Maybe you've got blocks either side of you. Foot or one block. Hands come from either side. You can go get your ball down. You're not the king of the world. So this is like a simple one. Another one would be to grab the foot and reach for your head, because often our side body is very, very stiff. So opening up the side body can actually help to warm up the legs. And try and keep that connection of the whole foot. If your whole buttock and foot is coming off the floor, that's too far. Okay? And a more extreme version would be to come over and bring the hand over. And maybe if you're getting more open, you can sort of pinch the big toe. But this is all in time. But what I find is, for years you can't reach for the hand, and then suddenly you reach for the hand. Just for the people who weren't here, we had a pre-testing last week, and you all know how tight Michael Howell is in his flexibility. He was the first one to break the board, which was really impressive, yeah? Because I've never met anyone quite as tight as Michael, do you know what I mean? So again, for him to break the board with excellent form is great. So once you've gone side to side, I hope that opens up. Now, one of the ways you can open up to tip your hips forward is to point the toes back and point them forward. This is like a gentle way of rolling the hips, eventually get into that front splits position. And a way of doing it is doing like a little mini push-up. So you go down and you push, and if you can't reach the floor, put your blocks there. So you go onto your blocks and physically push back up. And then an advanced level would be to drop your elbows, keeping the back straight and lifting up. So these are all levels that, again, you might not be at the moment, but when you get there, and again, I can drop down onto, I can make this little thing with my head, dropping down, or if I'm feeling more open now, I can drop down. No, I can't quite reach the floor yet. But again, if I've got a block there, I can reach it. Okay. Good, excellent. Bring your legs in. Now, I gave this in a class the other day. Is the senior pre-testing. I was like, this would be a good way to warm you guys up. So we often go side to side in what I call the windscreen wiper. Okay. Have your feet slightly wide and tap your knees side to side without using your hands. And it makes the movement much harder. And the more you keep your chest still, the less you lean side to side, the more contact you keep with both hips to the floor, the more your hips are working. That's fine, that's fine. It's the safest way to try out Carver, really. My niece used to bottom shuffle everywhere, so she used to rock and ride. But it's a great way to get your hips moving, to warm them up. And a little variation is to lift that foot up. So as you go over, tail your back foot up, and you feel that hip really working now. Boom. And shut. So hopefully those hips are open. Yeah, feel that cramping? So finally just push through it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some ways to get to your front split. Okay, so we did the side split or the straddle. We'll do the front split now. Okay, so again, I'm not going to time it at all. I'm just going to take you through a range of motion. So the easiest one is to have one foot forward. Please feel free to have blocks down as you need them. Okay. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get this leg straight and then tip in so deep that you feel a stretch here in your hip flexor. They're basically the two muscles we're trying to work. Now, again, to make this exercise more intense, there's a couple of things you can do. One way to make it more intense is to keep the hands pinned to the floor. So then it's making the stretch more intense. Another way of doing it, again, you don't have to hold the floor, is to keep your chest connected to your leg. And again, just doing this until you feel a stretch in the hamstring and a stretch in the hip flexor is good. And again, you'll make it more intense by taking that back knee further back, so it should be a deeper stretch. And don't have to get into a full split yet, but just feeling these stretches at their maximum range can help out. And when you can't go any further, or when you feel like you're kind of at your maximum, I want you to sit down in this hurdle stretch. So the hurdle stretch, again, if it hurts your hip or your knee, don't do it. Bring the leg forward or sit on blocks. So feel free to sit up straight, feel free to sit on blocks. And now, like earlier when we were going back and forth, just rock forward, do this little push up, and then lean back so you feel your hip working. So I go forward, again, maybe get your hands down, maybe get your forearms down, and then rock back. You feel like hip working just about 10 times. So I think I've done 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Cool. And we're just going to do all those stretches on the other side. So again, first of all, sit up tall, try and just straighten the leg and bend it. This is the most gentle version of the stretch. And again, to make it more intense, 2 things you can do. Either keep the hands on the floor or keep the chest attached to the quadricep. And again, slowly, slowly taking that knee further and further back. Don't feel like you can get any further, just sit in this hurdle stretch. So again, just sitting in it might be as intense as you can get, but again, what we're going to go for now is these rocks forward and back, so I'm a lot more open on my right side of the hamstring than on my left. So again, just to show you the contrast, on my right side I can pretty much get my forearms to the floor. On this side, it's only my left. So again, we do have one side more open than the other. Just work with it. Okay, cool. We're going to do a little partner stretch now, because we kind of got almost equal numbers. I'll join in with someone. And again, it doesn't matter how high it is. So Haroon, can I borrow you please, sir? So feel free to use a wall. Just use a Haroon now. Here. So, for example, come on. Oh, it's fine. Hey Ryan, okay?
Julie wants a red board back, apparently.
Red board? Red. Oh yes, of course. Have the red board. That's totally fine. Always welcome on the red board. Every student keeps breaking my boards. I need to buy some new ones. That's a good thing. I'll buy some new boards on Blitz when I order. So, for example, Haroon can have his foot on my leg here, straight for a hamstring stretch. That's it. I hold on to his hands, and all he does is he rotates his hip over, so his foot turns all the way, and he rotates his foot back. So you can have it that low, yeah. And obviously his other hand could be on a wall, yeah. this would be like a level 2 of the exercise, where he turns his hip over, and see Haroon grimacing? That's high enough for him. So you're going to do 10 of those with your partner, okay? Again, the height is up to you, but you should be able to roll the hip fully and roll it back 10 times. And afterwards, trust me, your whole thing will be there. So yeah, so there we go. If Rob works with Adam and Carl with Steve, and you work with me. No worries, okay? Cool. Okay, so just tell me your height.
Yeah, that's too easy. Go a little higher. Yeah.
1.
Yeah, that's high enough.
2. 3. 4. That's it, good. 5. 6. 7. Almost here. 8. 9. And 10. Well done.
Yeah. Oh, I'm much better at this stretch since I pulled both these ligaments.
As a color to improve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
1. Can't kick it down in the middle. 2.
Maybe go slightly slower on that side. Lower, sorry.
3. 4. 6. 7. 8. Sorry.
That's okay.
9. Last one. 10.
Thank you.
So I'm going to try some.
Okay.
I'll walk back a bit. So I'm going to put the weight down.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, we've really got to pick that heel up. That's it.
Yeah.
Go on 4. 2. Put your feet all the way together. 4. 6. 7. 8. 10. It doesn't really work when you pull me away because I can't get the feet over it. Go back one more step. Okay, cool. So, after all that, we're gonna help with the hips. Okay. So, basically, go back to where you were. No more partner stuff for today. But that's just a partner one. And again, in your house, you might have something like this, but as long as you hold on to the safe, you can do it like that. As long as you've got objects in your house that's safe to put your foot on, you don't actually need a partner, but that rolling your hip is really good. So now we've worked the hip a bit, let's go into our pigeon and do a couple of push-ups, okay? So I'll show you a couple of variations. Chill out, mate. Chill out. Don't even think about it. Okay, so go into your pigeon, and again, feel free to go on a block. There's no attack me. Go. So, 2 ways you can do this pigeon push-up. You can either do it with your hands, like you were doing earlier, or you can do it no hands version. And obviously the no hands version will be a lot more intense. Okay? We're just going to do 10 on one side, then 10 on the other, just to give the hips a little bit of a workout. Okay? Ready? And go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go. And then go to the other side. So, and go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this one, when it feels like too much, just come out of it, okay? I'm going to do 3 rounds. You don't have to do 3 rounds, okay? So if I can explain it simply, feet are as wide as you want them. Hands are here. 1 breath, 1 breath, 1 breath, 1 breath, then they go out wider, okay? And we're going to do 3 rounds. So if you like my inner legs are too much, I can't do anymore, that's fine. But this is one of the things that helped me with my box split, doing this little drill. It's really simple to do and it really works, okay? So take your legs to 0 pain, okay? So walk them over to 1 foot and don't touch the foot, just point your fingers towards that foot. Breathe in, breathe out. Point your fingers to the other foot, breathe in, and breathe out. Now try and take the fingers forward and try and get the hips in line with the fingertips. And then as you take your fingers back, see if you can tip your hips back ever so slightly. So that was round 1, okay? Now we're going to take the legs out a little bit wider. If you're feeling like you're not on balance, keep one hand in the middle, okay? So we'll take the hands over to one side, hands over to the other side, hands forward, and hands back. Okay, last round, toughest one. And 2 on one side. To the other side. To the middle. And then sit the hips all the way back to your deepest straddle stretch. Go. And then bring the legs in. Give them a shake. Windscreen side to side, side to side. Now, once you've got blocks or pads, in working to your front split, one of the things that can help is you can use shields, you can use pads, anything. I'm just going to grab some blocks here to help me measure. So, again, make sure they're stable. But you've got the blocks like this. This would be absolute highest, yeah? So, again, in traditional splits, this hip will be turned, but for us, being martial arts, we want a good side kick, hot kick round us, so the foot wants to be turned out. So that would be level 1. And then you're on level 2, if you get. Okay? And then level 3, and then level 4, and then level 5. When I get to level 6, I often put 2 blocks because I just want to support my front leg all the way, so on, and then eventually all the way down to the floor. Okay, but that's how you can measure it. Okay, so now you're really stretched out. Have a go with your front split. Here you go. So forward blocks. Good. Now go block high. So I want to grab some pads for him. fine, but just getting somewhere that's comfortable for you. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, we're going to do one more stretch, guys, and we'll start to cool down because it's been quite intense. So, you can use the blocks as well for your side split. Okay. So, there's a sort of safety net. Again, this is just the PNF. Pushing down and lifting up, okay? So for example, when I take my legs down, I'm just going to push down for 10 seconds, okay? So push down, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now lifting up can be quite a balancing act. So what I tend to do is turn the toes up and try and lift everything off the floor, pushing through my hands, okay? So lift up now, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now relax. If you need to come out of the stretch at any time, please do. You can keep your feet on the blocks. Doesn't matter if you keep them on or keep them off now. But if you want to make it more challenging, you have to take your hands off the block as you push down on the floor. So push down on the floor for 10. 10. And hands on the block. Turn the toes up. And pushing up. Last round, if you need to come out of it, that's fine. Push down. Right. And pushing down to the floor. 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. And then lifting the toes up. 10. Now you can do a similar thing with the side split. You can stack your blocks, but it's not as easy to balance. See if I can get down to the blocks today. It's about as low as I'm going today. Try and hold it for at least 10 seconds. Okay, come on slowly. Oh, and let's lay on our back because that wasn't. Now here's a little lying down stretch that I'd forgotten about. So you've got your knee slightly up to the side and you push it against your hand for 10 seconds, okay? So this should work the hip flexor a bit. So push against your hand for 10. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. Just let that leg drop out to the side. And then other leg, bring it in to the side slightly and push against. Okay, awesome. Now it doesn't matter if you grab your feet, your toes, inside your ankles, or outside ankles, a little bit of happy baby. Also feels nice after these big stretches. You just roll your spine out side to side. Again, you can stay here in your happy baby. Feel like this is perfect. I don't want to change at all. But one thing I like to do is start to straighten one leg and bend the other, so it looks like a weird upside down flying side kick. One leg up and knee over the top. And you can just drop your knees to the side, or if you want a bit of an extra stretch, you can do this eagle leg pose where it tucks under your other leg, and then just let the knees drop over to the side. Come out. Cross the knees the other way. Again, you just go over the top, or you can do what we said. Getting cramp. Hook it under your leg. A little eagle pose, and let the drop. Just drop. And if you want to lean your knees on your yoga blocks, this can be helpful too. For the final bit, all we're going to do is let our legs drop out in butterfly. If you want to have your hands to the side, it's fine. If you want to have your hands in cactus, that's okay. But just take deep breaths to finish. Nice little stretch to finish that I just thought of is to take your feet outside your hips. You've gone in cactus. Now, as you drop the knees to one side, the hand, that your knees are not dropped to the side, drop it down, so it's facing down. And then as you bring the knees over to the other side, let the hands change as well. This will be quite soothing to do. One side, if you take that bottom heel and take it on top of the knee, and then look over the other shoulder, it's going to be a nice final twist. Change sides. And then very, very slowly start to work your way back up to seated. And that guys feel good? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. There we go. Brilliant.